Hally, and welcome back to Icons of Influence, the series where we explore how influence is built, scaled, and sustained across business, culture, and leadership. Today's episode is about a very modern form of power, not ownership of factories or platforms, but ownership of voice, a figure who has turned personal conviction into cultural leverage and controversy into currency. This is the story of Jameela Jamil. Her journey shows us how influence operates in the attention economy, how values-driven visibility can disrupt entire industries, and how speaking out consistently and loudly becomes both a strategy and a risk. Jameela Jamil's career didn't begin in Hollywood. She first emerged as a television presenter and radio host in the UK, working in music, youth culture, and entertainment media. This early phase matters because it trained her in communication, how to hold attention, frame conversations, and engage audiences in real time. Her move into acting came later and unexpectedly. With no traditional acting background, she landed the role of Hannah Jamil in The Good Place, a global hit that introduced her to international audiences. Tahani was a sharp satire of status, privilege, and performative goodness, and the role aligned perfectly with Jamil's emerging public voice. She became known not just as an actor, but as a commentator on the systems the show itself was critiquing. This marked a pivot point. Acting gave her scale, social media gave her reach, and activism gave her authority. Jameela Jamil's influence accelerated when she moved decisively into activism, particularly around body image, beauty standards, and diet culture. She founded the I Weigh movement as a direct challenge to how worth is measured, shifting focus away from appearance and towards values, achievements, and well-being. What began as an Instagram concept evolved into a global campaign, a community, and a recognizable brand. This is where Jamil's influence becomes strategically interesting. She didn't build a traditional product business. She built a values platform. Her currency isn't physical goods. It's credibility, alignment, and cultural relevance. Brands, media outlets, and institutions engage with her not for neutrality, but for stance. In the modern economy, this is a viable and powerful business model. Attention plus conviction equals leverage, but it's also fragile. Values-based influence depends on consistency. Deviations aren't seen as mistakes, they're seen as betrayals. Jameela Jamil understands social media intuitively. She uses it not just as a promotional tool, but as a battleground. Her posts are direct, confrontational, and often uncompromising. She names companies, challenges celebrities, and calls out systems she believes are harmful, from detox products to diet apps, right through to unrealistic beauty standards. This approach has consequences. It creates visibility, loyalty, and amplification, but also backlash. Jamil's influence thrives on engagement, and engagement in the attention economy is fueled by conflict as much as consensus. Strategically, she has chosen not to soften her message for mass appeal. Instead, she prioritizes alignment with her core audience. This deepens trust with supporters, even as it polarizes critics. This is influence built horizontally, not hierarchically. It doesn't rely on institutions. It challenges them. With outspoken influence comes scrutiny, and Jameela Jamil's career has been marked by controversy. She has faced criticism over past statements, questions about personal narratives, and accusations of exaggeration or inconsistency. These moments matter because they expose the central risk of values-led influence. Credibility is everything. Unlike product-based brands, where failure can be fixed with iteration, personal brand influence is harder to repair. Trust is binary. Once questioned, it becomes the story. Jamil's response strategy has been defiance rather than retreat. She rarely apologizes in traditional terms. Instead, she reframes, doubles down, or shifts the conversation back to systems rather than self. This is a high-risk approach. It protects her authority with supporters, but limits her ability to expand influence into more neutral or institutional spaces. Jameela Jamil represents a broader shift in how leadership and influence are defined. She holds no formal authority. She doesn't lead a corporation or a government. Yet she shapes conversations, pressures brands, and changes public language around beauty, wellness, and mental health. Her leadership is permissionless. It exists because people listen, not because anyone appointed her. This is increasingly how influence works in the digital age. Power accrues to those who articulate values clearly, repeatedly, and publicly. But sustaining that power requires emotional resilience, strategic discipline, and a tolerance for backlash. Jamil's career shows that influence today is less about being liked and more about being believed. Jameela Jamil's journey offers clear lessons for modern influence builders. First, voice is an asset. In a crowded market, clarity of belief creates differentiation. Second, values can be monetized, but only if they're lived consistently. Third, attention amplifies everything, including mistakes. Fourth, polarization is a strategy, not a side effect, but it comes with limits. Finally, influence without institutional backing is powerful, but fragile. It must be maintained daily. Her story challenges the idea that influence needs permission, while reminding us that visibility always comes with accountability. Jameela Jamil didn't build influence by playing it safe. She built it by speaking loudly, standing firmly, and refusing to dilute her values for comfort. Her story reflects a new kind of power, one rooted in conviction rather than consensus, and voice rather than hierarchy. I'm Hannah Hally, and this was Icons of Influence. Until next time, choose what you stand for carefully, understand the cost of being visible, and remember, in the modern world, influence belongs to those willing to use their voice and live with the consequences.